Live.
We are live. Welcome everybody to Knife Guns and Gear Chat episode 3. Let's see if I can pull up the comments and see if we got anyone in here. I should have been looking this a while ago, but I haven't been. My bad.
You slacker.
Seriously.
Hi, anybody.
All right, yeah, we got well, I don't know if these people are actually in here. It says only one's watching now. Jennifer Young, Smile Money. They were confused on the time. I don't know why it starts at the same time every week, but 9 Central, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we don't have very many viewers yet. We should though. We usually get peeps in here first. So I sent Corey a message, Hancock, see if he's coming tonight or not.
Yeah,
So
we
we
were
will
talking
see.
about the times. I went back and watched last week's chat, and a lot of people are coming in at 10 o'clock still. You know, when Jedi switched it over to 9 o'clock, and then, I think some people that don't watch every week haven't caught on yet.
We got Jennifer in here. How's it going, Jennifer?
Hey, Jennifer.
Yeah, got one viewer right now. Woohoo! Well, why we don't have a lot of viewers? We'll just kind of, talk, and then once we start getting more people watching, we'll pick up the topics and that kind of stuff. How's that sound?
No
That
problem.
sounds like me.
So when's the wife due, Andrew?
Well, she was due last week, and she had a baby on Monday.
You had the baby?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations, brother.
Healthy little boy. He was 9 pounds 6 ounces, our biggest one by far.
Whoa, that's a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
His name's Dominic, so
Cool.
we probably call him Dom. But he's doing real well, and my wife is doing real well. We're all at home, so thank you. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize you had the baby.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was like not able to make it last week because my wife was like, "I think I need you around." So I was like, "Well, okay." But she
Yeah,
did have
that'd be a really good reason.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're on the chat now with the few-day-old baby.
They're going to bed pretty early, actually. I was just holding the dude beforehand, and I was like, "Alyssa, I gotta go to this chat. I want to hang out with these guys." And she's like, "Okay, I'm going to bed."
I bet she's tired.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, a lot more work than anything I've ever done. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Is this your first kid?
No, actually, yeah, I'm kind of a family man. Actually, I have 4 kids. Actually,
4?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, count them 4. And
Yeah,
my oldest
no wonder you're on chat. You're used to doing this.
one of these days, some kid's gonna jump in my lap, and we're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised I haven't had one of mine come downstairs while I'm doing these.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. So I've got 3.
Cool. Yeah, I've got 2 boys and 2 girls now, so it's nice.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a nice little even pairing there.
Yeah.
What are their ages?
So it's my oldest boy Leo, he's 4. Then my daughter Eve is 3, and I have my second daughter. Her name's Maddie, and she's just about 2, and then my baby's just not even a week old yet, obviously.
Wow, that's close together. Your oldest is 4?
Yeah. We pretty much hit the ground running when my wife and I got married, which was in 2011. So.
Yeah, you did. Jeez.
Yeah. Go big or go home.
Yeah, are you gonna have any more?
Yeah, maybe. We both come from big families. I'm the oldest of 4 boys, and my wife has more siblings than that. So we don't really have a cap in mind, and that's cool. It's kind of like God's plan, to be honest. So fortunately, I'm able to provide for my family in a way that we're able to have kids without worrying about it. So it's just a good life there. have these beautiful children around. That's my perspective on
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm a big family man myself. I don't know that we'll have any more than 3 kids, but
it.
I'm
Somehow
still,
4 is not as bad as transitioning to 3 was like, oh my gosh, like 3 seems like insane. 4 is kind of like, well, okay, you've thrown in the towel already.
yeah. Yeah. What do you do for a living if you don't mind me asking?
No, it's totally cool. I'm sorry, I'm chewing an ice cube here. I actually work for a local church. I work just as kind of a manager there. I'm not in ministry formally in any way, but it's basically helping run some programs. So, yeah, it's interesting. I have an academic background. I have a master's degree in philosophy, and I was planning on doing doctoral studies in philosophy, but we started having kids, and we just decided we wanted to settle down and raise our family near where our family is. We actually moved back to my wife's hometown, which is rural Iowa, Bellevue, Iowa, and that's where her folks, her family are. Her dad's a farmer, and we were able to move back closer to her siblings. And my family's all in Minnesota, so it's a little bit of a drive to get there, but it's better than where we were. We were living in California, actually. I was in California for 7 years. So yeah, so there you go. That's my kind of like what's going on in my life. Sorry to like.
No, it's cool, man. It's cool to get to know you better. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
It's fun. So I know Hancock has one. You have one little boy, right, Hancock?
Yeah, a little 5-year-old boy. We'd like to have another one, but that's not in God's plans. So maybe adoption in the future. But
that'd be cool.
You all said surprised they're not in your lap or down there. Mine has been down here, and I've momentarily left the chat before for tuck-ins because now that we're at a 9 o'clock chat, his bedtime's at 8 o'clock, so if he wakes up and wants some milk or wants some water or any stuff like that, he typically wants mom, but on Thursdays he wants dad.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah,
so, Mel, you have like 6 kids, right?
No, I got one. I got one. Yeah, I got one boy. He's 26, and
oh wow.
Yeah, he's got a son of his own, and then he's with this other gal, and he basically adopted her daughter. So basically, I got 2 grandkids. I got a grandson and a granddaughter. So.
Middle trooper, if your son was 2 years older, that might be me.
It could have been.
Yeah, dude, you do not seem old enough to have a kid 26 years old.
No way.
Yeah, I think that, so.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And when I was married to my second wife, she had two boys. They're, I think, 20 and 19 and 20 right now. But I still consider them my kids because I basically raised them. And but I haven't seen them in a few years. But I still talk to my older stepson, so to say.
Cool.
So, Metal Trooper, if I'm just guessing correctly, if I do the math for Metal Trooper 62, I can figure out how old you are?
Yeah. Yep. I'll be 52 in December.
Wow.
New Year's Eve. I was born on New Year's Eve.
You were born on New Year's Eve?
Yep, 1962.
Dude, me, you, and my wife need to hang out and have a birthday party because she was the very first New Year's Day baby.
Oh,
wow. There you go.
I was born on April 1st, so I'm an April Fool's baby. Nobody believes me.
April Fools. Your parents, that's awesome.
Hey, April's a good month. I'm a tax day baby.
That's nice.
Well, I'm an October Scorpio Halloween type baby. Not on Halloween, but the 27th, so my birthday's coming up in about a month.
Yeah, my sister's October 25th.
Well, hell, I might have to send you a birthday present, Mr. Knives.
Yeah.
You certainly don't have to, but, you know. I'm not going to tell you no.
You know, a turd in a Ziploc bag for $5 flat rate shipping, why not?
No, why don't you do that except send it priority so he gets it when it's fresh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. All right, guys, let's go over to the We're gonna just see who's in the comments real quick. We got some more viewers. We have HNRE42.
What's up, Rob?
From Urban to Country Homestead. And Smile Money's in the chat now. I think they were having some issues getting in or something, but so we got a few new peeps in there. So tonight's gonna be a little more laid back than not that it's ever really that organized, but I did have a few topics, but not a lot to cover. But we'll just kind of stick with the same format we've been doing. Kind of talking a little bit of knives, guns, and stuff. So just to kind of start out, well, why don't you go, Andrew? Anything new? I know you're trying to unload some knives right now, and you have one that I want.
Yeah, I'm doing a big knife sale. I've been, I collect watches too. And it's kind of like hierarchy of hobbies. You gotta decide what you're gonna keep. So I have a chance to buy a pretty nice vintage chronograph. A chronograph is like a watch that has a stopwatch built into it. And go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying. I knew what a chronograph was. I've got a few. I'm not a collector, but I've got a few nice watches.
Cool. No, that's great. I mean, I'm not sure what a collector is, except that, when one comes up that I want, I better have it. But yeah, so I'm getting rid of some knives. The thing is all the knives I have they're pretty common, so at least I could find them again. Whereas this watch that I'm interested in, it's a vintage watch from the early '70s, and it'd be pretty hard for me to find it. So yeah, I've got a bunch of ones a bunch of nice stuff. It's gonna hurt to sell on the chopping block, but that's what you got to do,
You do, yeah.
I am carrying a little knife tonight, that small little Alox Cadet. I haven't had this particular one for long, even though it's interesting. The knives I've had by far the longest. I can't say I've had many knives for decades, but the ones that I can say I've had for decades have been Swiss Army knives. So it's kind of fun carrying this little lightweight thing. I actually changed into my pajamas already, and this is like a knife I carry when I'm wearing the comfy pants. So.
The pajama knife. We've all got pajama knives. I know we do. Yeah, I usually carry my Kershaw Skyline, my carbon fiber one.
Nice.
It's really lightweight, so that's cool. Those Alox Swiss Armies are great. That's my favorite type of Swiss Army knife is the Alox. I don't really get into I have a bunch of the other ones, like a lot of the classics and a few of the I can't even remember what models they are, but that's the one I like to actually carry quite a bit was the Alox. So.
But Andrew, you said you're getting rid of knives and collecting watches, so I had to make a real quick run, and I just want to show you a few things. Talking about vintage 60s and 70s.
Cool.
Just in case you might be interested in trades,
okay.
Because I may or may not have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Holy moly.
10, or whatever of the vintage 60s and 70s watches.
Wow.
But like I said, we can talk about this later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a lot of watches.
And that's what I grab quickly.
Those look nice. I can't really tell what brands and stuff they are, but you got some classy taste in watches if you're wearing old school dress watches.
My grandfather was a World War II veteran, And when he got to World War II, he came home and he signed up to be a mechanic, but he couldn't spell it correctly, so he got put into the medics.
Oh no! Good thing you didn't spell shooter wrong or something. Like you could get put into a lot of bad places that way.
But long story short, he ended up going into a medical career.
Okay.
And he was a pimp daddy. I have his pinky ring. I have his cool watches. He always carried a very nice pearl-handled pocket knife.
Wow.
Now, he didn't make a whole lot of money because he had a very large family. But his extra change, he classed it up a little bit. A little redneck flash.
Nice. Redneck flash. I like that.
You buy the right stuff, it stays in the family, But,
And then, after I saw his watches, because I'd never get rid of his, I started picking up duplicates and stuff to wear. And I'm like you, one of those hobbies.
Yep. Cool. That's awesome, man. My first watch was from my grandparents, actually, when I graduated from 8th grade. They got me a little watch. I still have that. So, I'm already thinking about what knife I'm going to give my new little boy for his first knife.
There you go.
Are you familiar with its Natron? Natron. It's one of the first digital quartz watches. I think it's from like '68. But that's the watch. The battery's dead in it right now.
Mm-hmm. That thing probably sucks batteries big time, huh?
Oh yeah, like a battery lasts a month.
Amazing. Yeah, those early quartz watches are they're pretty collectible actually. I'm not familiar with that watch in particular, but yeah, there's a strong market for them for sure right about now, especially with Go ahead.
You know how a lot of them had the stretch bands?
Yep.
How they're stretchy? This one is actually a locking. Let me see if I can figure out how to do it. But it's a locking clasp and a slider.
Yeah. Very adjustable.
But yeah, it's you move this slider piece wherever you want it on the band, then slip it in. And I'm trying to do this to the viewfinder, so it sucks. But slip it in, and then just the little lock bar, you lock it around and just clasp it. But this is like a, I think it says 11 karat gold. It's something oddball. I did it on scratch stone. It's actually got gold in it, but I don't know, just one of the oddballs.
Man.
What's that?
You gotta do a watch review, man.
The thing about it is, I like them, but I know nothing about them.
People just like to see them. Some of my most popular reviews are also my stupidest. People just like to look at them.
So, Hancock, what do you got new on the? I know you got some new knives. You told me you had 8 new ones since the last chat.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually going to start a little, probably 1 or 2 minute video a day or video a week. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do. But the one I want to share right now is, a lot of you all know that I'm a member of the Friends of the NRA, which we raise money for youth shooting sports and youth safety events. And for working with them, they gave me a Browning knife. And it's really cool, and it's NRA embellished, if you all can see that. But it's got a really nice exotic wood handle. Just, I don't know if you call that a Skinner or hunting knife, but I don't know. I just felt really honored when they gave it to me. And they also gave me, let's see if we can make this out, my Friends of the NRA High Caliber Club pin.
Cool.
But no, just for doing my charity work, I got a couple gifts, and just really proud of them.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, super sharp looking knife there.
You don't want to show us the rest because you're going to do your series? That's okay. You don't have to.
In all, some of them still in the mail. You know, I have the Blackwash series Kershaw lifter with the recurve Tonto blade. I'll do the little short video on that and talk more about it. Since I am sitting here next to a big box of knives, I picked up a couple of Birds by Kershaw.
Spyderco.
Yeah, Birds by Spyderco. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Picked up the Cara 2 with a, what's it, FRN handle?
I can't tell. I thought they were G10, but I could be wrong.
No, they're FRN.
Oh yeah, that's definitely FRN. It's hard to tell in the camera now. I can see it.
You know, no liners, just the FRN. For the price, heck of a knife. You know, you can tell by my hand, it's a great big blade. Picked up the, what's this one? The Bird Crossbill. Knew nothing about it, picked it up just because I thought it looked cool.
I like that blade shape. I like that hawkbill blade.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Yeah, is that more of a hawkbill or a karambit style?
It's a hawkbill.
Yep.
The only thing I don't like about it is, with my OCD, I am polishing it more than I am playing with it, being all stainless.
Get fingerprints on the handles.
Yeah, and I actually have, speaking, you have the new baby, those little burp cloths. I keep one of those smeared down with stainless steel polish and just rubbing it off when I put it together, or put it away. Rubbed it off, what'd he say? But no, I've got a couple other Kershaws, and the rest are in the mail. Y'all see them soon, or maybe next week, because I'm done. I'm not buying another knife for a month, or at least I told myself that.
Yeah, I always tell myself that, and I end up doing it.
That's a very noble resolution.
What about you, Trooper? Anything in the knife world? Probably, not, but...
Not knives. No.
I thought I would ask. Cool.
No, but Mr. Metal Trooper, this past week I've been seeing a lot of your comments on videos that I've seen. He needs his own show, man. This guy is extremely intelligent, and he's got a passionate heart. He's got some stuff to say.
Yeah,
Feel free to speak up.
I'm sure the government's going to love that.
Definitely. Well, we got some controversial stuff. To talk
Yeah,
about.
it's just common sense stuff. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us, that deal with, what we're into, think the same way I do. So.
Yeah, speaking, talking about think the same way you do. Instead of adding a comment, I'm just like clicking a like on your comment and saying, "Hell yeah, I'm with you." That's he just said what I wanted to say. I'm done.
Yeah, it's good. A thumbs up, good comments. For as many trolls as there are on YouTube, there are, especially on some of the channels that we like to hang out on, there are some really good conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. Unfortunately, the trolls tend to ruin it for everyone, but... All right, so let's go. I will go then, and then we'll kind of talk about the comments. I just did a review, or like a little overview video on the Kershaw Nura.
Sexy knife.
It's a really cool little budget knife, man. I'm like really digging it. Like I said in my video, it looks more like it's titanium than it is stainless steel. It's kind of got that look, and it's just got a really sleek design. And my favorite part is that it's on the KVT bearings.
Yep.
The style of that knife looks like it would go along with one of those classic stainless steel 70s watches.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a cool design element. I mean, it's a collaboration with Dmitry Sinkovich. He's a designer out of Belarus, and I think he designed the 454, didn't he, Andrew? Do you know?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. And that should be out soon, exclusively on Kershaw's website. I'm not sure when. I'm signed up for the email. Though I doubt it. I'm not gonna drop that much money on it, I don't think. But so if you guys are in the, those of you out there in the chat, in the comments, if you're looking for a good budget knife, this is exceptional. I mean, it's under $40. It's got like I said, it's got the KVT bearing, so it's super smooth flipper. It's non-assisted. It's got the 3.5-inch blade, and it's on 8 Sierra 13 steel, so it's not the best steel, but for $40, it's kind of what you expect in steel. So, but this is one of my favorite models they put out this year. It's just really neat. I've been carrying it quite a bit. And then I finally got this baby, and this one I've been waiting for like all year, since like January.
I'm so jealous.
And Andrew, you saw this on my face on my Instagram.
so jealous.
It's
Man.
So beautiful. I can't even tell you how. Oh my gosh, I mean, I had the 562, the standard one, and I loved that knife. But as soon as I saw this pop up on the exchange I was up there for $200, which is $40 cheaper than what I was going to pay on Blade HQ.
Right.
And it was brand new in the box. I mean, the guy's like, I flipped it a few times, never been carried, and I was like, sold. So I sold my 562 for almost the same I paid for this, by the way. So I think I ended up paying like another $10, $15 maybe for this after I sold that. And it's well worth the extra money because it's got beautiful carbon fiber, the M390 steel, that probably will never need to be sharpened ever.
Yeah.
But you can't really make it out because this video sucks. But they did different. They did polished the grinds on the knife, and then they have a stonewash flats, which is really cool. And even like the top swedge is polished, but this where the ZT logo is, which I'm getting a lot of. Well, I'm backwards. My bad. Where the ZT logo is all stonewash, but then this is all polished, and this is all polished. It's just a really cool little feature that wasn't on the original 562 either. So, but that knife I've been waiting on forever, and I was so stoked to grab one. So now I got to get the 620 carbon fiber, and I'll be set for another month or so.
One question I got for you, since you're talking about two different Kershaws running on bearings, how does the action compare on the affordable one versus on the ZT?
They're not the same bearings. Well, they call them KVT, but they don't look the same. You know how? Have you ever had a KVT bearing knife?
Yeah, they're blue on the ZTs.
Yeah, they're blue. These ones on the strobe and this one, they're not blue. They're like a little gold, and they're much smaller bearings. They're not. Well, I shouldn't say the bearings. Yeah, they are. They're the smaller diameter. They're not as big as the blues on the ZT knives. So it's not as good of action, obviously, but it's really good. I mean, it's smooth, and it fires out fast, and it's it's a smooth knife. It's better than washers, So they're not the same. When they say KVT, they're not going to use the same bearings they use on their higher end knives. That's just
Yeah, it's just a generic acronym,
Yeah, basically what they are is they're caged bearings. They're just bearings pressing. That's what they are. Which is it's an upgrade over bronze washers or the Teflon and stuff, I think. But it's a good selling point for them, and it's nice to see that feature in a budget knife. Because most of their budget knives are assisted.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of the assisted knives. I just hate fighting that spring. I like the manual action just a lot better, and so I was pretty stoked when they came out those two models with the KVT, and I bet they'll continue to do it. So.
You're talking about the assisted knives.
Yeah.
I'm pretty new into knives. How hard is it to de-assist a knife like the Lifter? Because I love this knife. I love the way it comes out, but I hate the drop in that. That's
you're fighting that torsion bar. Yeah. Some models can be de-assisted. Some cannot. Ones that do not have a detent drilled in the blade for the detent ball, basically like an indentation in the blade where the detent ball would sit on a manual knife. A lot of the assisted knives don't have those. So you could take out the spring and it would have no detent. It would like shake right out and come open on you. A detent is basically what keeps the knife closed.
This knife,
But
I'm sure you can't see it because it's on a webcam, but there's a detent in the frame lock, a little ball right here, but I can't see anything in the blade itself.
Yeah, and that's what's missing. You could drill one. Some people have done that. If you had experience with knives and knew what you were doing, you could probably drill one and make it so you could take out the torsion bar. But like some of the models, they have the some of the ZTs that are assisted, like the 566. That you can de-assist that one. I de-assisted mine. The 770, the 350. There's quite a few of the ZT models that you can do that too. Now, Kershaw, I know the Blur. Oh, I think that's about it. There's probably a couple other ones that are assisted that you can de-assist, but I'm like 90% sure you can't on that one. But you just basically the only way you can really find out is by taking the knife apart, taking out the torsion bar, and then reassembling it and see if it has a detent.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had a bunch of the Kershaw T-tools with the correct bit drivers, and I accidentally gave all those away and didn't keep one for myself. So now I don't have any Torx bits small enough to work on my knives. That's pretty smart for a guy that's just getting into knives, give away all his tools.
Dude, go to Home Depot and go buy the Husky little Torx driver set. It's like a one little. I usually have it by my desk. It must be in my other room, but it has all the different Torx sets you'll ever need for a knife in it, and it's like $5. It's I have these Weehaw ones. Like I have like this one here. That's this brand called Weehaw. This is what Kershaw uses in their factory and stuff. And these are the best that you can pretty much buy, but they're a lot more expensive. This is just a T6, I think. And I bought this one, the T6, because that's the number one screw you'll strip on a knife is the T6 because it's so small. And I've stripped them out before with the other kind of Torx bits. So this one is high quality. This one I bought just for the smaller stuff. Because sometimes Kershaw likes to put like a crap load of Loctite on their knives.
See, I have
not just Kershaw. Benchmade. I've had a few Benchmades that were just Loctite to death. Spyderco. Everyone does it.
Yeah. I have a full set of those Torx drivers from Craftsman. They're the Craftsman Electronics set. If I could find them. I'm sure you know how that goes.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. So, on the topic of knives, well, let's go ahead and talk. There's a few more people that have joined the chat. We've got SA Survival Man, Metals for Brunch. He just spent a ton of money on some awesome knives, it sounds like. So, Pennsylvania Shane, GI Customs, what's up? And yeah, that's I think the new ones in the chat. Oh, there's more comments below. I have to research. There we go. So, got some new viewers. Speaking of ZT, we've talked a lot about Kershaw and ZT tonight. They just pretty much announced that they're enforcing MAP pricing now. MAP being minutized. That's not even a word. Minimum advertised pricing. Benchmade's been doing this for a long time. Basically, they set what a dealer like Blade HQ or Knife Works or whatever, what they can advertise a knife for, the minimum price. ZT's never done this before, and I've never paid MAP ever for any ZT knife. I always get them for cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's not upsetting. I understand why they would do it as a business because they want to maximize their profits, and you can't blame them for that.
Yeah.
But it kind of sucks because like that. I think the MAP on this 562 CF is 240, and you're gonna have a hard time getting it for less unless you're buying it from secondary market like I did. So
right.
That's the kind of unfortunate thing. Benchmade's been doing it a long time, like I said. Sometimes you can get dealers that will sell you Benchmade for less but they really don't advertise it. And I assume the same is going to go for ZT. Like Kershaw guy, it's one of the guys I get a lot of my ZTs and Kershaws through, and he typically will put the map pricing, but then it says add to cart for a lower price.
Yep.
I think that's actually what they've squashed. I don't think you can do that anymore.
Huh.
So that's interesting. They've made two big moves lately with knives as far as only selling their limited editions on their website, not to dealers, and then enforcing map pricing. So, I mean, I got to tell you, they're still my favorite brand, ZT and Kershaw. I mean, I like Spyderco's, I like Benchmade's. I'm not going to say anything bad about any of them, but that's kind of my preference.
I think ZT's been totally stepping up their game lately. I mean, ZT and Kershaw, actually. I mean, I think Ken Onion did some great things for them for a number of years, but branching out and getting all these different designers, like, it's really interesting. I mean, an affordable Sinkovich is like really cool, like. I mean, and all the KVT bearings, like, it's that one and the strobe. Are there other ones other than those two that are on the KVT bearings that are?
I think those are the only two. I mean, there is the. No, I think those are the only two.
I mean, that's even amazing that they have 2 models out there. I mean, I have a feeling they're going to be, they're going to be directing the market with those kind of calls. I mean, the affordable market's really been plagued with a lot of crappy knives, in my opinion, or at least like mediocre knives, like knives that could be good if they fixed X or Y. But I mean, a lot of these new ones from ZT look pretty dang, amazing for the price. Like, yeah, and a lot of variety too. I think that's the other factor to keep in mind. There's just really a lot going on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they do have a ton of knives to offer. I mean, there's something for everyone,
Guys, I don't want to stay on knives too long because I don't like Mr. Metal Trooper is not a big knife guy, but I do have a question.
I enjoy it. I learn.
Cool. I just hope we're not boring you.
No.
But for you two that are big into knives, I'm in the $10 to $50 range on knives, and one of the higher end knives that I've picked up are some of the high end U.S. Kershaws and like the Cold Steel Recon 1 that I got from you. As a newbie into knives, like I've only started into tactical or whatever style knives in this past year. What do you feel, or when you step over that $100 price range, what's the feeling of the knife? What is the quality difference from, say, a $30 Kershaw? Because just me not stepping out of my realm of price range, I haven't went to a high-end knife yet. Like my buddy C. Spearman has picked up one of those Hogue knives, and I looked them up. The cheapest I can find one for is like $120, and they're up to $200.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, he just bought that Benchmade 940-1 I'm so mad about because that's the one that guy stole from me, basically. That's a $240 knife, probably, so he really stepped up on that one. The biggest difference, I think, and Andrew, you can chime in too, I know you know a lot about this too, is when you get those higher knives, it's usually the materials that you're getting that's kind of driving the price up. A higher end steel, something that has better edge retention, better materials like titanium, titanium frame lock versus like a steel frame lock. The overall fit and finish is
the higher end. Well, the higher end blade steels, like the best one I have right now. Well, I don't know which is better. I have one knife in AUS 8, and I have a bunch in the whatever the MOV 13 is.
Mm-hmm.
The MOV 13 is my most common one, and then I have like 2 in AUS 8.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty. Go ahead, Ender.
Oh, yeah, well, they're pretty similar. I mean, AUS 8, it can be manufactured in Japan, and it's similar to VG10. It's probably a marginally better steel than 8CR 13 MOV or 8CR 14 or 9CR. There's a family of those CR MOV steels. I mean, my only comment in addition to the quality materials, which I think is definitely true, for a long time I felt like above $100 you cross the line into buying knives that were probably given a little bit more attention from the factory. So I would have fewer problems with knives that were $100 than I would with like a $50 knife. Sometimes it would just be because one was made in USA and the other was in China or something. But also, one thing I've discovered is it isn't always just made in USA. Like the Taiwanese Spydercos, they just have extremely excellent quality control. And I think that's true of most of the ZTs. You have to kind of pay up for a ZT. You just don't run into quality control issues as much. Some guys have quality control issues with Benchmade. I never have. But I know that Benchmade really takes care of people, in my experience, when they've had quality control. So you're buying customer service at that price. That's a company like Kershaw is definitely going to provide for every level of knife they have. But it's just nice to get a knife out of the box and there's nothing wrong with it. Good centering, good lockup, smooth. It's going to break in the right way and stuff. Does that make sense?
It does, and on that topic, the Bird Cara 2. I had one Spyderco, and then I saw these birds at a good price, so I bought 3 of them.
Yep.
Different birds, but it's being the Spyderco's low-end knife. I've probably flicked this knife less than 100 times, but it flies out fast. And what I'm really impressed with, I don't know anything about what washers are in here, but it just, it drops like a dream. It just swings freely when you push the back lock.
That's awesome.
That's a very low, I wouldn't say a very low-end knife, but it's a lower-end knife for anything Spyderco.
Yeah.
But what I've seen on the $100 knives and the $200 knives, it's like they're just on silk.
Yeah, probably the smoothest knife I've ever had is I have a Paramilitary that's a limited edition, Paramilitary 2, and it's a limited edition one with a pretty high-end steel S35VN, not the highest end, but a pretty good steel, and it is just incredibly, it's amazingly smooth. It just completely drops freely. It's got a cool lock called the compression lock, which is kind of like a very highly evolved lockback. It's or lockback combination liner lock, very interesting lock, and it's just an amazingly, it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with the knife at all. In fact, it's so perfect that it's probably a knife I reach for more than anything because I just am always using it. I think that's one thing that sometimes it's in sort of a difficult thing to know what's the price you pay for a knife that you're gonna just be able to trust and have no problems with. And I find that I'm much more reliably able to find those kind of knives above $100. I don't think you need to pay $200 or $300 for that. I have paid that much for knives before, and usually you're paying for exclusivity and more. It almost turns into more like a luxury item when you're paying that much. When you're paying above $300 or something.
Exactly, just like that Browning knife I showed.
Yeah.
I haven't looked it up. I don't know what it costs, but it's worth about $100 more because it has the NRA insignia on it.
Mm-hmm.
But in all honesty, I carry a Kershaw Oh So Sweet every day.
Yep.
And I have 2 of them because with Kershaw they do free sharpening, and they've just got a great customer service base. So if I break one or I screw up the blade, sharpen it wrong, because I'm not good at sharpening, I send it in. They'll either fix what's wrong with it, sharpen the blade, or replace the blade. And if they have to replace the blade on one of those, it's a $10 fee. but it's free shipping back to me. So that's my work knife. All the other knives that I have are, in all honesty, they're toys. They're play knives. I collect them.
Yep.
But I would like to find a good, something similar to this, or a tactical 3.5 to 4 inch blade knife. And even if it was up to $200 or $300, I don't know what steel to buy to not have to sharpen it all the time and not have to. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what you're going to get at that higher price point, man. Is you're going to get a higher end steel that you don't have to sharpen. One of my favorite steels is S30V, just because it's easy to sharpen, but it holds an edge a long time. It's a really good, well-rounded steel, because you get into these like M390s, and that steel will last a long time, but it's not very fun to sharpen. I'll tell you that right now. I've done a few of them, and it's kind of a bear. So that's one of the trade-offs. So the M4, the Gale Bradley, it's another example of a steel that'll last a long time in edge retention, but again, it's not the funnest thing to sharpen. So you might, the number one knife that I'd probably recommend in that well, there's probably not one, there's probably a few, but one of the, just off the top of my head, right around $100, just over $100 is the Paramilitary 2 that Andrew was talking about. You can get the standard one. You can get Spyderco. It's got that compression lock. It's really smooth. It's got about 3.5 inch blade, maybe a little bit longer. It's S30V steel. It's just over $100. I mean, it's one of the best values in a knife out there, in my opinion. I love them. I've had a ton of them. And
you say it's the S30V steel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the standard steel that it comes with. One of the things that I like about S30V, especially if you're buying it from a lot of these big producers, is they've kind of figured it out. I mean, so your results in sharpening will be pretty consistent. I mean, like I got kind of turned off from Elmax for a while because Elmax was not consistent for a while. And I think they've finally figured out a heat treat and stuff for it that's consistent. But sharpening is a lot of times as much of a struggle with getting used to working with a certain steel as much as it is just acquiring skills that you'll use in every situation of sharpening. At least that's the way it is for me. Like, I really like D2, but getting it razor sharp takes time for me. I can get it to a working edge that'll keep a working edge for a really long time, but it's like one of those tool steels that to get it like hair shaving, curling up paper, that kind of sharp, like I could spend a couple hours getting it perfect. Like, it's just a steel I'm not very used to. So yeah, S30V is a good steel to work with.
And see, me, because I'm an extreme newbie, I'll tell you, I don't know how to sharpen a knife. I have one of those Lansky sharpeners that you hold in your hand and rake it over the blade.
Yep.
And I do that, and then I have an old Buck Stone that I finish it up on, and I can make it shave hairs and curl paper for the MRV. Well, hell, what is this steel? The HCR13.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know how to sharpen knives. I'm new into knives, but I love them.
Well, if you're going to be a knife guy, you got to have a good sharpener. That's kind of a necessity. And, I use a pretty, I don't know if it's an advanced system, but I can get a mirror polished edge pretty good on knives. But, if you want to just keep them sharp, the Spyderco SharpMaker is a really easy system to use. And it's not that expensive. And it'll sharpen up to a pretty good amount of steels. I still like that system to touch up knives. Like instead of having to put my knife in my KME and get it all ready to sharpen, and it's quite a process. It takes probably 45 minutes to an hour to sharpen a knife because I have to go through all these different grits of stones and all this kind of stuff. But if you just want to keep a knife sharp, those ceramic rods, wow, on the SharpMaker are pretty easy to use, and they do a good job of keeping the edge sharp. So that's one tell you to look into.
Have you all dealt with
Drops?
the Lansky belts, the Lansky belt sander kind of sharpener thing?
I have a
I
work sharp. Do you have a work sharp, Andrew?
No, I run a Lansky system, but I have diamond stones. So that's been pretty good for me because the way I do is I have a Lansky system and then I just run it up to I basically have some sapphire stones, and then actually I'm one thing I've really enjoyed learning is stroping, and
I
I
was
think
going to ask if you do strops.
yeah, I mean stroping is pretty much the key to getting a mirror polish for me at least. Um, I mean, and it's pretty easy if you have polishes actually that go well with your strops. Um, so for me, I'll use a Lansky system if I need to reprofile a blade, if I need to put a new edge on it, basically. But if I'm just most of my knives don't really need that. Even my softer steels, if I'm using it on the days to like cut up cardboard boxes or I don't know. Some very simple stuff, not like whittling or something. I'm usually able to strop an edge pretty satisfactorily sharp if I have a good strop and polish ready to rock. I use a Strotman strop, and then he has like a set of 4 polishes that he sells. I don't remember which colors they are or whatever, but if you just successfully use the polishes, like you can get a pretty sharp edge that way.
Yeah, I've seen several videos of.
I'll go ahead, Metal Trooper.
Oh, I was just saying, that Strotman strops. I've seen several videos of those.
Yeah, I've got one. I use it all the time.
Yeah, my blades, if they get to where they won't shave hair, then I put them on the stone. But because I'm not good with the stone, I don't get the mirror polish, and sometimes I scratch the blade when I get an off angle because I'm a new sharpener. I'm not good at it yet.
Yeah. That's the advantage of an angle guided system like the Lansky, like that 555 uses. The KME, I use the KME. I kind of think the KME is like a Lansky on steroids. I mean, it's a little bit more refined. It has a nice ball bearing in it. And it has more edge degree options. You can go all the way from like 15 all the way up to 30, I think, and you got little increments in between. And it's not terribly expensive. Those are knives, but again, like I still use the SharpMaker to touch up knives all the time just because it's so easy to use. And a strop, like Andrew was saying, a strop is a really important part because I'll use my knife for something and I'll just take it on the strop, and I use the little HD, I think it's called, the Strotman HD. It's just a little small one, and I've got like the green and white paste, I think, and I just run it on that, and a lot of times I don't even have to sharpen a knife. So definitely a strop is a vital part of sharpening. Well, let's move on from that. Go ahead. What were you saying, bud?
In all honesty, with my OCD, a strop would probably be the best thing because I'd probably do it once a week or if not every other day if I used the knife. But
yeah,
we'll talk about that later. Jump off the knife.
Yeah, so let's. We've been talking knives for a while, and Metal Trooper's over there sleeping. I can see him. So.
No, I'm learning.
I'm just kidding, man.
I've watched some documentaries a couple weeks ago on like some of the Japanese steel that they use for some of their blade making, and there's a YouTube channel, and I cannot remember the name of it, but they had some videos, or they had some knives they did reviews on where it almost had 2 different types of steel on the blade. Like the top part of the blade was a certain metal, and the blade part was a different metal.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of the channel. It's a really good channel. I mean, they had some reviews of some knives I'd love to have, but I'm sure they're higher dollar stuff.
Probably.
That's cool.
I can't remember the name of it. I'm subscribed to them, and I haven't seen them do a video in a while. But But I think they were having issues that SOG stole his video, like his style of videos or something.
Oh, you're talking about Edge Observer, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, one of his he's done reviews on knives that are laminates, which are basically two different steels that are welded together.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he's awesome. He's that guy's been I don't know, he hasn't really been doing a whole lot other than posting a couple pictures on Instagram, but he's actually getting into making knives lately, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably the nicest knife channel out there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, his quality, and he does some amazing things with his editing, and I mean it's a really cool channel. I've been subscribed to him for a long time. So, all right, so I'm gonna go over the comments real quick, and then we'll get into the guns topic. Susan Rogers has joined us. 504 Dirt Dart, welcome. Metham88, what's up, buddy? Hawaii Volcano Squad says aloha. And yeah, so we got a few extra people in the chat. Now we're going to talk a little bit about guns and some guns in the news. I don't really have any new acquisitions as far as guns are concerned. I've been kind of I did get my new steel targets in from steel target from Grizzly Targets. They were supposed to send me 2. They only sent me 1.
Oh, sure.
I don't think it was on purpose. I think that whoever did the shipping, because the packing list showed 2, one 12-inch gong, and then one of the the reset targets that I'll be reviewing soon. And the gong wasn't in the package, which honestly is what I was most looking forward to, because that's when I'm going to be shooting at my 308 at, the long range stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But the reset target's really cool, so I'll be doing a review on that. They're really good. They're really good targets, man. They're really beefy, and they're really they're AR-500 steel. I mean, they'll take punishment. So I'll be doing a video on that pretty soon. But other than that, with guns, I don't really have anything new. Any Metal Trooper, you said you got your rivets or your rivets.
I ordered them today. My receiver flat and my rivet set for that Polish underfolder. So I should have that probably next week. And then I've been debating on. I need to do some research on some barrels. Because the barrel that I really want is going to cost about $250, $260, and that's for a cold hammer forged Steyr barrel from Bulgaria. But there's supposed to be some really good American-made barrels out there now. I know Green Mountain is supposed to have some of the best AK barrels out there. I messaged them with some questions, but they haven't messaged me back yet. But and then I've been hearing I need to do some more research on those nitrite line AK barrels. So it's and their barrels are like about $100+ cheaper than the Steyr hammer forged ones. So less K-Bar, because I usually get my barrels from K-Bar, but if K-Bar has a sale on barrels, I might just go ahead and get one of those.
Cool.
Are you going to do a video series of the build? That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I started doing one on my AK-74, but there's so much time in between them that I'm going to start just videotaping them, and then when I get it completely done, then I'll start uploading the videos. Because it might be, a couple months before I do from one thing to the next, just because I'm, waiting on money to buy this or that, stuff like that. But I pretty much got all my stuff. I need to get some headspace engages and a few other things to complete them. But other than that, I've got all the more expensive stuff paid for.
Cool.
That'll be cool to see that. What does it cost to typically build an AK? Because I know you can build an AK pretty cheap.
It really like my flat bending die. I paid $170 for that. My 12-ton shot press, I paid about $120 for that, and then a few other things. a couple $100 here, $50 here. I've got on my receipts, and probably whenever I might do a video on it and just do a total of what I spent. And I'm kind of OCD, so I probably get more than I need. You know, or I'll buy the more expensive stuff. Or the way I look at it, if I buy it once, then I got it.
Well, Metal Trooper, once you have your equipment, all of your tools and everything,
Right.
if you just trying to pump out a low-end AK, what would it cost you to build a low-end AK after with having the tools? So not counting your tools, but just building the gun.
Well, you can buy receivers that are ready to go, and Nodex Spud is probably one of the better receivers out there, AK receivers that you can buy. And you can buy a receiver for, $115, $100, depending on what variation you go with. And you have to get that through FFL, but, you don't have to worry about bending your receiver, heat treating it, and all that other stuff. It's ready to go. You just rivet your trunnions in and press your barrel in and populate the barrel with the rear sight block, gas block, and front sight block and everything, and you're pretty much ready to go.
So like I was saying, what is the cheapest you could build one right now?
It's hard to say because the kit prices are all over the board. I mean, depending on what variation that you want. Like I've seen Arms of America just got some East German AK-74 parts kits in. And I'd love to have those, but those are $800. And that's without the barrel and without the receiver. So it's just, I think they said only, I forgot how many they said that came in the country, but it was only a couple hundred came in the country. But it's one of the higher end, or more rare kits. And then you can get, like, there's some Hungarian underfolder kits out there you can get for about $250.
So if I was to build my own AK, could I get into one for under $500?
Possibly.
You can buy a new AK for under $500.
Yeah, see, that's the whole thing. It was cheaper to build your own AK than it was to buy it. Now with the AK prices coming down, it's about the same, or if not cheaper, to buy your own AK, ready to go. Because I know, like, these TAP 92 pistols come, J&G had them a few weeks ago for $400 a piece. Well, just for an M92 PAP AK kit is like $500-$600. So you're well over the price on that. But in the parts kit, they had underfolders and side folders. So I mean, you get that. You get the folding stock, which if you want to spend the $200 to SVR it, then you can do that. But it just really depends. I mean, it would probably almost be cheaper to, like I said, probably cheaper just to go out and buy an AK than it would be build it. I just enjoy building them.
It's pretty cool.
Because myself, I've been into classic guns for almost 18 years.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of shotguns, a lot of revolvers. Just classic style American guns. But this past year, I bought an AR, and I've got into the ARs, and then I've been looking at AKs for a while because I've had a SKS, and just thinking, I've got an SKS, I've got so many rounds put up, why not get an AK?
Yeah.
And, it's not like I'm going to use it all the time. I would just like to have an AK, and I'd like to have a budget AK.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if building one or buying one would be the best option.
Probably if you're just going to, if you're just wanting one, I would say probably just buy one that's ready to go. Because you're going to spend, like I said, you're going to spend more on everything than you would if you just went out and bought one ready to go.
So if I'm looking for a budget AK to buy, what's a good price range for I'm low end, just one to have in the collection?
Probably, I would say you could probably get a decent one for around $600. I know the Century, they have those milled receiver AKs out there for. I know dealer cost is probably around $550, $600.
Okay, because I can get them at dealer cost.
Right.
With me working at the gun shop and on the NRA committee, I've got a few friends that own gun stores. I might have to pay all the fees, but I can get it at their cost plus their fees.
Right. So you could probably get one of those for around $600. Because the FFL guy that I deal with, he only charges me $10 for a transfer fee. So I could, if I see something that I want, I just tell him, hey, I want this. So I would pay for the price of the gun, shipping, and then $10. So it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's about the same setup I've got, except I don't have to pay him anything. I just have to pay him all of the shipping.
Right.
He doesn't charge me a fee because literally we live a mile and a half apart. We're neighbors, so
Yeah.
He's really nice to me.
That's cool.
But whatever comes out of his pocket, I put back into his pocket, and he'll get me the gun.
Yeah.
There
is a local gun store, and I asked them about transfers, and they want $50 for it. And I'm like, well,
what?
Yeah, $50 for them to order me a gun. It's like, no, I can get it cheaper. But
I never heard over 25. I think 25.
Yeah.
Kind of this 2025 is the standard. My FFL charges me $15.
Yeah.
He's a real small shop, so.
Yeah, the place I used to get my stuff from, this guy ended up retiring and everything, but he charged me $20. I'd buy, receivers or this and that. He was awesome. I wish he wouldn't have retired, but he got his first FFL in '68 when they passed the the NFA and everything, where you had to get an FFL to buy guns or to buy and sell guns, I should say.
That was in '68.
Yeah.
So you're talking before that you didn't have to have a license; you could just buy and sell.
Yeah, you could order them out of Sears catalog.
Oh dang, those were the days right there.
And they would ship it straight to your house. Yep.
Yeah. See, my dad started working the gun industry in 1965, and they did not have to have anything until '68.
Yep.
He worked at a place called Frank Miller Sporting Goods, and they were grandfathered all the way through '69. In like March of '69 is when they had to get a FFL license.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep. I've got old Sears catalogs from like the late 50s, early 60s, and you could buy shotguns, revolvers, whatever, and you could either go to the store and buy it, no questions asked, or you could send the money in and they would ship it to you, mail order straight to your house.
It's just like here in Kentucky, we used to have a auto parts store called Western Auto.
I remember that. We used to have that here.
And I have a Western Auto. It's Western Auto Revelation bullets and Western Auto Revelation revolver, 22 caliber revolver and 22 shorts. I've got the Western Auto revolver, brand new in the box, and a box of Western Auto 22 shorts in the box. My papa got a sale.
22 shorts are worth like 30 cents a shot now.
For $19.99, he got the pistol and 50 rounds for $20.
Oh my gosh! I've got a single shot 12 gauge that says Sears and Roebuck on it.
Nice. God, you just wish that's the way it was anymore. $20 for a revolver. You can't even buy a brick of 22 for $20 anymore.
Nope.
You could buy a 100-round pack for $20 anymore.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Hey, I'm gonna have to take the dog out. He's whining, so
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
No worries.
Metal Trooper, real quick before you go,
Yeah.
can you grab that Sears and Roebuck shotgun, or is that not at your place?
It's locked up.
Okay, because not now, but I'd like to see it sometime or another.
Okay, I might do a review on it. Because actually, what I did was, whoever I got it from, I guess they cut the barrel down because I guess it was like a 20 or 26-inch barrel, so they cut it down to like 18 and a quarter. So I mean, it's legal and everything, but yeah, it was something I used to use for home defense when I used to live in an apartment. But yeah, it's a thumper, but it's a single shot.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot. I have a soft spot in my heart for those single barrel shotguns.
Cool. Okay, I'll be right back.
All right, we'll see.
Speaking of shotguns and home defense, that was actually one of the topics I was gonna bring up. There was a story that I wanted to cover a little bit. I don't think I. Well, first of all, actually, I'll wait till Metal Trooper comes back to talk about Eric Holder because he's got some thoughts on that guy. he resigned or is resigning, by the way. But the shotgun story I was talking about was I gotta find it. There it is. So this mom, somebody's mom, because everyone has a mom, right? She said that her kids got her a shotgun for like Mother's Day or something, and she ended up having to use it on a burglar just recently. So kind of a cool story because they got her a gun for defense, and she ended up really needing it. I don't. Oh, it's in Oklahoma, El Reno, Oklahoma, wherever the heck that is. She believes she shot a possible burglar in the backside, right in the butt. She had an alarm system. It went off. She realized someone was trying to kick in her back door. She has a handicapped daughter, so she grabbed the shotgun and ran out the door to confront the intruder. She said, "I caught the gun, saw the door had broken in. Then I saw him hitting over the fence and heading to the creek. So she fired. She thinks she hit him right in the butt as she left. So, and then she apparently has an electric fence, and the intruder got caught in the electric fence. So, I'm assuming he took a butt full of bird shot. I'm not guessing that she had buckshot. Maybe she did, and then he got caught in the electric fence. And then he left a trail of blood for the police to follow him. So, pretty cool story. Oh, it does say that she used buckshot. So that's pretty cool. She actually used the correct round there. Isn't that funny though? The kids gave her a shotgun. She used it, shoots him in the butt, and he gets caught in the electric fence. So he gets electrocuted and shot.
Well, good for her, and I'm glad the dude got what he deserved.
Amen to that, because amen to that, definitely. I thought it was funny though that that's where he got shot. So he's gonna live through that. But the question is he gonna continue a life of crime after this, or is he gonna learn from his mistake? That's what you wonder.
Hopefully, since he got shot in the backside with buckshot, one or two of the pellets hit the correct place, and he won't be able to reproduce. That would be the best part of this story.
That would be the best part. I agree. That'd be funny. So there's another one, and these are two in Oklahoma. I'm not sure what's up with Oklahoma lately. It's like taking over for Missouri, but a little kid, 11-year-old kid, shot a man that was attacking his mom with a knife. So let's go ahead and I'll read more about this story. About 4 a.m. Tuesday, Oklahoma City police were called to a home and found Brandy Marino, who said she was stabbed by her ex-boyfriend. Police said Henry broke into the house, began to attack Marino until her daughter shot Henry twice with a handgun. Henry tried to flee from the home after being shot. was found dead on the street. Oh, and was found down the street. Excuse me. You need to read that correctly. Not dead. This little girl had the wherewithal at 11 years old to take her mom's handgun, as her ex-boyfriend was like basically going to kill her, and she shot him. And apparently she had a restraining order against this guy, and we all know that restraining orders are really effective because it's a piece of paper, So I just thought that was cool. That the kid had the wherewithal to grab the gun and shoot the guy that was stabbing his mom, because I think a lot of kids would just freak out, not know what to do. They would cry and scream, and they wouldn't think I should go get the gun and shoot this guy,
Totally, yeah. Did they say what kind of firearm was used in that event?
All they said was a handgun. They didn't specify the caliber or anything like that.
That's cool. I think I was probably about 10 years old when my parents first showed me where they had a couple shotguns that they kept for a dangerous situation in their closet in their bedroom, and pretty much right about the same time I was learning to shoot a gun, they showed me where those were. I don't know if I would have freaked out. I probably would have, but it's nice to hear that. I mean, it seems like that's about common sense, especially if you've got a broken relationship like that, where you might be in a dangerous situation, to be able to give that responsibility to your kids.
And it's one of those stories that's a great story that the media will never report, because they want you to believe that guns killed kids, not that kids can use guns to defend their loved ones, their mom. Like, that's the beautiful thing, and you got to applaud the parent in that situation for obviously, I'm sure she took the kid shooting. I mean, she knew where to get the gun. She probably knew how to use it.
Yep.
And she didn't endanger anyone's life by using it. She didn't accidentally shoot herself or, shoot the mom or, a bystander or anything like that. So I thought that was a really cool story too, that that 11-year-old took it upon herself. And my son I take my son shooting frequently. He's 9, and he would know exactly what to do. He'd probably grab his .22 rifle and unload a 25-round mag into someone. I've seen that kid shoot 25 rounds faster than I can, and I wouldn't want to mess with him.
That's awesome.
We're giggling and laughing about it, and I commend the parent or parents for training the kid, which I try to for my son. At what age do you all think it's appropriate to say, there it is?
Well, I think it's good to start at a really young age to introduce them to firearms, and get them, shooting, and take them out there, get them training, And one of the biggest things I think it takes away is the curiosity of guns. Like if they know you have guns, but you don't ever let them touch them and you don't let them shoot them, that's that curiosity that they're going to want to go and what is, they're how kids are. They're curious. They want to touch something. They want to feel it. And you hear a lot of these stories where people, accidental shootings in homes, and majority, I think, of those are kids that have never even handled a gun. My son's handled a gun since he was 6, I think, 6 or 7, and he shot pretty regularly with me on a rifle, and then I think last year I started him on the pistol. He's got a little .22 Walther that he shoots, and he's actually really good with that for being 9 years old. So, he's not curious, so I would trust him, Go ahead, Hancock.
Your son's 9 years old, and there's a video back on my channel a few months ago that shows my son getting his first knife and his first gun. He has a .22 Chipmunk, which is a single-shot .22 rifle, and it's an American Eagle brand knife, but it's a miniature version of a Spyderco. It's got green F&N handles, but he has a knife, he has a gun, and where are they at? They're locked up in my safe. And he'll tell me, "Hey, Dad, can I see the knife? Can I see this gun?" Yes. Anytime he wants to see it, hold it, ask questions about it, or shoot it, here you go. Here it is. And I'll be right there with him. And like you said, it takes the curiosity away. I don't want him to be curious about, oh, let me go play with it. No, here it is. This is how it works. It's in the safe. Anytime you want it, it's in the safe. Tell Daddy you can have it. But I keep a Red Ryder BB gun right by my door. And, yes, it's a BB gun, but he can, it's a trust issue. I'm seeing if he wants to play with it.
Right.
I leave a knife that I've put on the bench grinder and took an edge off of it. I couldn't touch you if I tried. But I leave it on the counter. That Red Ryder gun is sitting there. That knife with no edge is sitting there. But he knows if he wants to see anything, anytime. He woke up one night. He said, Dad, you were telling me about that deer. And this was in the middle of the night. He said, what gun did you shoot it with? And we went down to the safe. I opened it up, showed him the gun. He said, can I touch it? I said, here, you can hold it. And I let him hold it. He goes, it's too heavy. I can't hold it. We put it up. We went back to bed. I just don't want him to have that kid curiosity.
Yeah, and another thing it teaches them respect. You teach them, the firearm safety rules, and that I really, really stress that with my son, and it's the respect for firearms, and they can be very dangerous. We all know that they're capable of taking someone's life, and they need to be treated with respect. And that's something you teach them. So you take away the curiosity, and you teach them to respect firearms, and always point them in a safe direction. Keep your finger off the trigger. Your basics. Firearm safety rules, and I've been ingraining those in my son's head since he was, 6 years old. And so when he goes shooting, he knows what to do. He knows not to put his finger on the trigger until he's ready to fire. He knows not to point it at anything he doesn't want to destroy. He's in a, it's something you have to ingrain in him. And it's funny, at that age, you constantly have to remind him, because if I don't take him shooting for a few months, sometimes he'll he won't point it in the wrong place, but sometimes he'll put his finger on the trigger before he's ready to shoot, or it's something like that, and I'll just instantly correct him. I'll say, hey, where's your finger at? And then he's like, oh, I remember. So you got to start them really young, and I think as soon as they're big enough to hold a gun, they're strong enough to do it on their own. I think that's when you start them. And for my son, it was older. My daughters have shown interest. My 7-year-old has shown interest, but she's too, I don't know. I don't think she's ready yet, so we're not going to go there. But I do plan on having my daughters learn and shoot, and one day they might have to defend themselves from some guy, and
totally.
So that's definitely something I'm going to do. But you just kind of, I don't think there's a right answer, what age. It depends on the kid, and their maturity and their strength and that kind of stuff. But
with my son, I don't call it trigger. You know what I call it? The dead button.
I like that.
Because in all honesty, one of our family pets, we live on a farm, one of them got hit on the road. And unfortunately, my son saw the dog get run over.
Bummer.
And I told him, I said, your dog is hurt, and it's hurting, and it's gonna pass away. It's gonna die. And he went to a funeral before he saw the dog hit, and he understands what dead is. And I said, we're gonna have to put it down. He said, what do you mean put down? It's down because it was down on the road. He didn't understand what put down meant. I said, son, we're gonna shoot it with a gun, and we're gonna help it die faster. That way, your puppy's not hurting, because we're gonna have to bury it and give it a funeral. And that was really traumatic for him. But I don't know why he understood. And I didn't let him watch or anything. I said, I'm going to shoot the dog with the gun. And I made the wife take him in the house, and he was crying. You know, I shot the dog, and he knew what the gun did. He didn't see any of it, but we buried the dog, and he understands if you shoot something, it's dead or destroyed.
I just watched Old Yeller with my kids a couple days ago. Same kind of story, you know. They got to the end of the movie, and they're like, "Why does Yeller have to die?" Well, because he's sick. That's what you need to do to take care of an animal, is take it out of its misery, you know?
That movie put me in tears as a kid, man.
Yeah.
It does it to me if I still watch it.
Yeah. Me too, because I have a lab. I have a couple dogs, and I have a lab, and, you know, definitely be hard. I don't watch those kind of shows on purpose.
I like a little girl when I had to shoot our family dog.
Yeah.
You know, but
I can imagine.
His guts were hanging out the back. It was horrible.
Yeah, that was the right thing to do. In my family, you know, I had a couple. It was nice. You know, my dad had some brothers. I had a number of uncles in my family that hunted with my dad, and we just grew up with guns being another normal thing around the house. That it was something that adults did, that you had to have responsibility about, and you had to have the right formation about, but it was something that was normal. And I feel like being normal is a big factor with handling firearms. Are you guys there? Looks like nobody's there. Hi, Metal Trooper. You're there.
Yeah, my dogs. I don't know. Where do you want? Where do you want to go? You want to go over here? There.
There he is. Speaking of
Sorry, I had to go pee off the porch.
Okay, all right. Well, Hancock, I was just saying that I was raised with a family of hunters, and so seeing guns and firearms around the house were just part of growing up for me. And they were treated like a normal adult thing. I mean, you treat guns with respect the same way you treat Dad's car keys with respect. And
for me, it's the same thing. You know, at my house, you didn't touch the hot stove.
right.
You didn't touch you didn't grab the kitchen knife. You didn't touch the 870 in the corner.
Right.
It was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you were big enough to learn how, you did it. You know, it's not a dangerous killing thing, but just like telling your kids not to stick your hands on the hot stove.
Right.
It's the same.
If you parent with common sense and your kids respect your concern for their safety, then they're going to listen to you when you say that kind of stuff. I mean, and I think that good parenting makes a big difference with firearms. I think a lot of times firearms, you know, part of the reason why the state, I think, is interested in controlling firearms in its civilians is because they don't trust the family anymore to create a culture of responsibility.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't agree with you more. And that's the issue, is that current generation children they don't have that respect. It started, like you said, respect the hot stove, respect your parents, respect firearms. They don't have that respect for a lot of things, and that's the biggest issue, you know. And funny enough, I think it's caused by these type of liberals that, you know, are trying to take our guns.
Yeah.
So that's the sad thing about it.
It's interesting because to me, knives are guns. I mean, in a fundamental way, they're tools. They're not they're not weapons, or they're not even necessarily dangerous in and of themselves. I mean, a hammer can be dangerous, or a saw is dangerous. I mean, you teach a kid not to. I teach my son to be careful with my pocket knives the same way I teach him to be careful with a handsaw. You know, I mean, and if you raise them in a way where they understand the context that you use these things in, like, you know, I have hunting magazines around. I have collectors magazines around where these kids see that these are normal things that you can enjoy, actually, not just be safe with, but actually enjoy. Well, they're going to aim for enjoying it, not just for sneaking to use it or using it in a nefarious way, the way that people act like, oh, if you have a rifle, you're going to do crimes with it or something. But that's not built into a rifle at all, right? I mean,
yeah, just like you're saying, I have a 870 shotgun sitting in my pantry with my food, and the reason it's there is I have one box of birdshot, I have one box of buckshot, and my pantry is really close to my back door, and out my back door is my garden and my chicken coop. My son has told me, Dad, there's a coyote dog by the chicken coop. At 5 years old, he said, there's a coyote dog back there. So I'll get the unloaded 870, load it up with buckshot, and go shoot at the coyote.
That's cool.
Or if they're, even if it's out of season, I live on a farm, you're supposed to protect your crops. Screw anybody that wants to bitch. If there is a critter in my garden, raccoons, rabbits, whatever, I'll put birdshot in it and go shoot what is ever messing with my garden. And Leighton understands that it's a tool. Hey, this animal is out here messing with our chickens or messing with our garden. Go fix it with this tool.
One thing that my son's only 4, he hasn't handled many guns himself, but he has handled my BB guns, and those are both a lighter weight and more manageable for a little kid size. And he sees me use my BB guns because I use them to scare squirrels off of my bird feeders, and that's been a very good experience for him, I think, just to see that here's this little thing that we call a gun, and it's perfectly safe, and it's serving a purpose that we all enjoy watching the songbirds come, and these squirrels are interfering with that, It's very normal.
Yeah, and my son told me to get my BB gun the other day, and it was a great learning moment because he was out on the front porch, and I was on the side porch. We have a wraparound porch, and he said, Dad, there's a bat. Get your gun and shoot it. He pointed at my BB gun that's right there in the corner, and I picked it up and I'm like, what? And then he said, shoot it. I said, no. I put the gun down, explained to him that that gun would kill that bat. I said, that bat eats all the mosquitoes that get you when you're in your swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
And that bat is a friend of ours. We need to keep him. He's sleeping on our front porch. He's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
So it's just how you use your tools and when you use them and what you use them for. And when I told him that that bat is sleeping until it gets dark and then it's going to eat all the mosquitoes, that bat was his new best friend.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I taught my son to shoot on a BB gun first. That's what I started him with, was a BB gun, to just teach him firearm, basic safety, and we shoot it in the backyard, and then graduate him to a 22. So BB guns are definitely a good place to start.
In all honesty, I didn't have a BB gun until I was 27 years old. I got one within the last year and a half.
I didn't have I had a BB gun. Actually, I never had a BB gun. My mom was really anti. I don't think she was really anti-gun. She just didn't. She kind of feared them, kind of thing. So I didn't own my own BB gun until I was in my 20s, and then my first firearm when I was 21.
I had a Benjamin Franklin 22 caliber pellet rifle. But my dad said, BB's ricochet, you don't need one. He wanted penetration. If you're going to shoot something, kill it.
Yeah, we had just family BB guns growing up, and that was kind of nice too because it was like you had to learn how to share with your brothers. I mean, I'm the oldest of 4 boys, so sharing was a good thing, and teaching mutual respect when you're with your younger brother of handling something like that. I mean, they're cheap too. That's the other thing that's nice about a BB gun is you can take a boy out with a BB gun and shoot 300-400 rounds, and you don't even blink an eye at it, you know. At least that's probably what my dad was thinking.
Well, Metal Trooper, do you have a BB gun? Did you have one?
Yeah. I had a real gun before I had a BB gun. I got my first gun when I was, I got my first gun when I was 10. It was a 20 gauge shotgun. Then probably when I was like 13 or 14, I wanted something that, because I had a buddy that had, and we just go out and shoot cans and stuff, and I always used his, so I saved up and I bought it wasn't a Red Ryder, but it was a Daisy, one cock, BB gun. And then I bought a pellet gun, then I bought a pellet pistol, and I still have a pellet rifle. It's got a folding stock on it and stuff. It's kind of neat. But I bought that at a gun show years ago, and I probably shot it a couple times, but it's still in the box and everything.
Cool.
But you guys, I'm guessing we were all raised up fairly responsible.
Yeah.
Did y'all do stupid stuff with your BB guns or pellet rifles?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had the pellet rifle. I didn't have a BB gun, but I never did anything irresponsible with it. But you tell your stories. I have a story with my bow and arrow because I had a bow and arrow for a long time. So, if you have any stories with your BB or pellet guns, let's hear those.
Yeah, some of our friends, we'd get together and we'd have BB gun fights. We'd have our BB guns and we'd have trash can lids for shields. So we would kind of play around like that. And I'm surprised nobody got their eyes shot out, or nothing like that. But
shoot your eye up.
Yeah, we'd come home with some welts, stuff like that, but nothing major. It was all BB guns. It wasn't nothing major. No pellet guns or nothing like that.
My dad had a rule that if we did something stupid with a gun, we'd never get to use it. And he didn't mean never, but he meant for a while.
Yeah.
And so we never did anything stupid with guns, but I had a wrist rocket that I had a lot of stupid stuff with.
Oh, yeah. Slingshot.
That's a pretty stupid thing to give a 7 or an 8-year-old.
Well, you're talking about your dad saying you wouldn't get it back. My dad was strict enough that I had one of those little plunger sticky guns that shoot the little plunger darts out.
Yep.
If you point it at anybody and shoot anybody, you won't have it for a year.
Yeah.
And I literally went without my little sticky gun for 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Me and my buddy used to, speaking of slingshots, because I got in a lot of trouble with those more than anything. Those little snap, they're called snaps. They're little fireworks that you just throw on the ground and they.
Light, yeah.
Oh yeah, my son loves them.
Yeah, so we used to take those and put them in our slingshots, and we lived on this kind of a busier street in a neighborhood, and he had these right on the corner. There was a stop sign. And he had these big bushes right there, and we'd hide in those bushes, and we'd shoot those at cars. Oh, man, I'd be so mad. Because they left a mark on the paint, man. It was and we just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And then we started shooting at people, from those bushes. We're all hidden, haha, no one's going to see us. I mean, yeah, and we used to take these, one time we were on our way home from I think it was a camping trip, and his dad was driving us, and we were in a motorhome or something. And we had our slingshots, and we had, those Sixlets candies?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking love those, by the way. That's one of my favorite candies. But we were shooting those out of the at cars, as we were driving by.
Holy crap!
I know. I'm like, what were we doing as kids? Oh my gosh, like getting in trouble left and right. You know, back then it wasn't a big deal. Nowadays, you'd probably get charged with assault. Probably like.
We would shoot at like people's dogs if they were going for a walk, which I mean, like I like dogs, so like it was a little. I was conflicted even at the time, but it was such a funny reaction to be able to like somebody just going for a walk and then you nail them and they're like, "What's going on?" I mean, because back then people didn't think you were like attacking them; they just thought it was stupid crap. You know, the kids were doing.
Yeah.
Damn kids.
Well,
Yeah, get off my lawn.
I'm going to tell myself this is a hilarious story now, but when I did it, it was horrible. Where I grew up as a kid, my dad's house was directly next door to a graveyard. And I was out in the backyard. I think I was 12 or 13, practicing with my bow and arrow with practice tips, you know, the little flat tips. And just plink, plink into the styrofoam target, all good. And then a rabbit came into the backyard. And I went into hunting mode. You know, 12, 13-year-old kid, bow and arrow, yeah. So I stuck this rabbit and had bright yellow and orange fletchings. This rabbit went through the fence with the arrow inside of it, running through the graveyard during the funeral. So there is people mourning their loved one's death, and it's horrible. And here's this rabbit bouncing along with this arrow stuck through it, bright orange and yellow fletchings. Yeah, I went and hid in the house. Never heard anything about it, but yeah, this dying bunny rabbit jumping through the graveyard during the funeral, yeah, that'd be my fault.
Yeah, that'd be quite the sight to see when you're at that funeral.
I had a blowgun that I used to. I actually took squirrels with it before. I used to be really good with it, but I used to take because I had the cone ones, and then I had the ones that just had the ball, like the plastic bead. Well, I would take the dart part off, and this was summertime, and this is when I was with my second wife and her stepkids. And if they were younger, they were probably like maybe 5 or 6 at the time. Well, I told them, I said, "Hey, watch this." There was
So you're supposed to be an adult at this time.
Yeah. Well, there was a squirrel in the front yard, and like I said, it was summertime. We had the windows open or whatever, but there was a hole in the screen, so I stuck that blow dart gun through that hole in the screen, and I hit this squirrel in the ass, and it probably shot 10 foot up in the air, and came down and took off running. And my stepkids thought that was the funniest thing. But I got yelled at for showing them how to do that.
No, the funniest thing ever, my dad did it. You know, we did live kind of out. We were in the city, but it was kind of secluded because we're in the graveyard area. And he had a bird feeder, and he loved watching his birds. He watched them out the front window. And the squirrel started messing with the bird feeder. So he lifted the window up, sighted in his .22 Marlin rifle at 7 yards. And if those squirrels were messing with the bird feeder, he shot them. Well, he was watching the NASCAR race on a Sunday, fell asleep. Mom shut the window. And he woke up and saw saw a squirrel mess with that bird feeder. He pulled up that Marlin, took aim, click, boom. he shot clear through the window because she shut it while he was.
I knew that's where that was going.
He was in a doghouse for 6 months. My mom said, "You're in town. Why are you shooting guns? You stupid red." Oh, dude, it was funny. It was hilarious.
What's even funnier is that he fell asleep watching NASCAR, because I'm sure that's what happens to everyone that watches NASCAR. It's so boring.
Go fast, turn left. What?
Yeah. Do it 500 times.
Literally.
Oh, man.
One time when I was a kid, I had a wrist rocket, and you shoot at anything that moves, and I killed a sparrow. I think I hit it with a penny, and
a penny? Oh, you're a badass.
Yeah. It was in the backyard. It was not dead, clean dead, and my mom made me wrap it up and save it for my dad when I got home. And I didn't have a wrist rocket for a month after that. But it was interesting because my dad's like, "You just wait, because when you can hunt something, you're going to really like it." So he uses a learning opportunity.
No, if you hit a sparrow with a penny, dude, you can't see it, but fist bump, you got one right there.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
My dad had a rule. He taught me, he goes, "You don't shoot nothing unless you intend to eat it."
Yeah, right, exactly. My dad always talked about how much he hated eating squirrel, but I think it was just because he didn't want us killing any squirrels.
Well, this is, we're on a fun topic and all that stuff. I've got something I want to bring up.
Go for it, dude.
It's on the front cover of, let's see if I can get this one, Freedom Magazine from NRA. Miss, I'm not going to butcher her name, so I'm going to spell it. Shaneen, Allen. Single mother, law-abiding citizen, gun owner, is now locked up in New Jersey. What has happened, and this is her and her son being a single mother and gun owner. She lives in Pennsylvania and is a legal concealed carry permit holder, had a pistol concealed carried in her vehicle, and took the wrong turnpike road or whatever and ended up in New Jersey. And now she's facing a felony because she got pulled over for a traffic violation, and as soon as she got pulled over, she showed her gun permit and admitted she had her firearm to a police officer, and now she's facing 3 years in prison for a felony charge because she accidentally crossed state lines and accidentally had a taillight out. And I don't know the football player that punched his wife in the face. If any of you know that, it's whatever football player punched his wife in the face, drug her out of the elevator, had an assault charge. He and her had the same lawyer. And the football player, was supposed to go to counseling, and that's going to make it better. Now she is a felon and going to prison for trying to be honest, for making a wrong turn and having her legal concealed carry permit and legal concealed carry firearm with her. And if she wouldn't have told the officer, she'd be fine. But she got pulled over and said, "Oh, here is my permit. I have a firearm on me." And now she is facing felony charges.
Yeah, definitely.
That's ridiculous. That's what's wrong with America. We're right there.
Yeah.
Is that some sports player that is in the public eye, and people practically worship those kind of guys.
Yeah,
Who is the sports guy? Because I don't follow sports.
Ray Rice. He plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Well, played for the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, and that whole story is really messed up because the NFL knew about the whole altercation before the video was leaked, and I guess the video was sent to them, and the commissioner didn't do anything about it, and the team didn't do anything about it, and then until it was leaked again to the public eye is when they finally suspended him, and so it just goes to show this guy's, he's a superstar running back, he's a Super Bowl champion, he's one of those big name athletes, and he can get away with domestic violence, where this lady really didn't break any law. You said she crossed over into New Jersey, or did she cross over into New York?
New Jersey.
Where did she live?
Well, let me get the.
I mean, it's crazy because I thought New Jersey had concealed carry permits.
She was in Pennsylvania.
Oh, and she went over to New Jersey. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, I can't believe that the justice system looks at that and says, "Oh, you should go to jail. You're a mom of a small child, who, like you said, made a mistake, was honest, and did the right thing, and she's gonna get punished." But yeah, Ray Rice gets off with counseling for beating his wife. I mean, that's just what's wrong with America. He's got the money to pay the lawyers, to get that done.
Yeah.
Where this poor lady's a single mom, sounds like, and she doesn't have the money, and she could lose her child. I mean, it could be a really big deal.
And the whole thing is,
what is horrible is that they have the same
Well, let's fuck it once.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Metal Trooper. What'd you say?
All I was going to say, and she's a law-abiding citizen because if she wasn't, she wouldn't have had that concealed carry permit. So it's not like she was a criminal or anything.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, I think, on the first chat. I think reciprocity between states is going to be the next kind of very important next step in liberalizing gun permits. And I think that in absence of states collaborating, or maybe there being some federal decision allowing, state crossings and stuff, we're going to see incidents like this continue to happen, especially between states where there's a lot of tension. I mean, I'm really glad to see the NRA putting this on their cover because it's this kind of thing that should change. It makes no sense, right? It's obviously completely disproportionate.
That's what makes it even worse is, you got a gun-friendly state next to a state that isn't that gun-friendly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things where you basically are dealing with remnants of legislation that don't make sense anymore. And there probably could be some federal decisions that are made in that regard, but at least individual states should be trying to change their own expectations to facilitate reasonable carry expectations. I think the woman did the right thing by disclosing what happened with her, and I think it's escalated completely out of control due to completely unreasonable, probably an officer who's concerned about getting nailed, probably a Department of Police that's afraid of getting nailed, probably legislators who look at this as a politically opportune situation and it just spirals out of control.
You hit the nail on the head right there. The political officer aspect, that's, they were afraid of getting in trouble. And why is that? Because so many people are so concerned about getting in trouble. This woman she made a mistake. I'm sorry, I went into the wrong state because I didn't know where I was going. It was how many of you got lost?
Yep.
Yeah, you got lost. You got pulled over by a police officer. She was polite. Oh, well, I got pulled over. Here is my driver's license. I have a firearm with me. Here is my concealed carry permit. Here's my insurance card. Now I'm a felon for 3 years? Or
That's
I'm
what you're
going to
supposed to
jail
do.
for 3 years and now I'm a felon.
Yeah, you know what? It's in a similar, someone said in the comments about state laws differ on different things, which is part of the issue. But I was pulled over. Oh man, it's been probably 2 years ago, but I had my concealed carry permit, and I did the exact same thing she did. I said, hey, here's my permit. I just actually handed it to him with my license. I didn't even tell him. I just handed it to him, and he asked me, do you have your firearm on you? I said, yeah. He's like, where is it? I said, in my glove box. And he said, all right, I'll be right back. Comes back like 2 seconds later. He's like, all right, have a good day. Like, let me off just like that. I wasn't really speeding, and I kind of gave the cop attitude because I'm like, why are you pulling me over when I'm not speeding? I was kind of giving him attitude, but it's like that concealed carry permit. Like, he respected that. He let me go. No big deal. Nothing. He just I got me out of a ticket.
I got pulled over, and I was speeding. I was almost 10 miles an hour over the speed limit. But I was in my home state, and I keep my driver's license and my concealed carry permit together in the same little spot in my billfold. Got pulled over, handed it to him. He said, may I see your insurance card? I said, yes, sir. Would you mind getting it? He said, why do you want me to get it? I said, because my insurance card is under my pistol in the glove box. And he's like, oh, okay. He walked around the side of the car. He opened the glove box, pulled out the pistol, laid it in the passenger seat, got my little envelope that I keep my insurance card in, looked at it, put it back in the glove box, put my pistol back in the glove box, shut it, went back to the car. Less than 3 minutes, he said, you need to slow down. I said, yes, sir. Wrote me a warning ticket, and I was on my way.
Very nice.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, that's a great story. I think we're giving cops a lot of heat because they're getting more and more militarized, but I really think it's true that there are a lot of cops who are in it because they actually care about the well-being of people. And they have some grain of common sense, just like that story right there, the Hancock gave, or your story too, obviously. I mean, I think that cops probably appreciate responsible citizens, or a lot of them. At least the ones that I've met, they seem to appreciate the fact that people are responsible. We're helping them, obviously.
It makes their job easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing with with this whole there are bad cops, there are good cops, but just like the media, they always portray the bad. So, they portray the cops, they don't show the cops doing good very much. They show the cops, the bad cops.
Yeah.
They don't hardly ever show the good cops. Just like with, gun owners, they always show, the bad stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we talk about the stories we talk about, because they're good stories, and the media is never going to report about them. And it actually brings up Hawaii Volcano. Brought up that story, Mel Trooper we were talking about in the pre-chat with the cop that shot the guy with the seatbelt violation.
Yeah.
And I was just reading that, actually, and apparently, the knee-jerk reaction to this is that this guy got shot over, a seatbelt violation. He got shot in the hip. So luckily he lived, didn't die. And the cop in South Carolina too, which is a pretty gun-friendly state. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess what caused the cop to be on alert was when he asked him to get his driver's license. He pretty much I kind of watched the video. He kind of ran to his car to grab it, kind of made a sudden movement, let me grab my driver's license, and the cop thought, well, what is this guy grabbing? You know what I mean? Is he grabbing a gun?
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have shot him, obviously. That was not the correct thing to do. But him pulling his gun, I think he was doing that out of
instinct.
He was just being cautious, whoa, this guy's what if he's grabbing a weapon, you know? And then he, you know, obviously didn't need to pull the trigger, and that comes down to firearm safety. I mean, basic firearm safety. Like, why did you have your finger on the trigger until you knew, you know, like, that it was time to fire? Like, that's, you know, silly. And he freaked out and he shot the guy, you know, but the guy didn't handle the situation well. The perp, I guess I don't call him perp. He's not a criminal, but the guy that got pulled over, you know, he made sudden movements and those kind of things that make cops nervous. And I guess he kept his driver's license under the seat, from what I was reading. Which, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you have that on your body? Like, I don't understand. Or at least on your visor or somewhere accessible, easy, that you didn't have to make sudden movements. Because I remember I used to keep my gun in my where I kept my insurance and stuff, like you were talking about, Hancock. And I didn't want to like have an experience where I'm reaching to get my insurance and the cop sees the gun and freaks out and shoots me.
Right.
Basically what happened to this guy, you know. So I moved it to a different spot where I didn't keep my insurance information, you know. So I never had to reach towards it, you know. But you know, it's an interesting story that he got shot. The cop obviously overreacted, you know, and it kind of comes back to training, you know, for these police officers. And you know, we talked about it was months ago in one of our chats with Texas Jedi that it was actually happened here in Salt Lake where the cop killed the dog in the guy's yard. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Same kind of scenario. The dog was just barking at him. Wasn't like charging him. Wasn't an aggressive animal like type, you know, breed or anything. And he was just so like nervous or so on high alert because they were looking for a kidnapped victim that he just, you know, immediately shot. So it just kind of brings up a concern for me that for these police officers, are they getting enough training? Are they, do you know what I mean? Are they well trained enough to not have these kind of accidents happen, or are they just so, you know? And it's South Carolina. I used to live down there. It's a nice state. It doesn't, you know, there's crime and stuff, but it's not like it's Detroit or, you know, Chicago or somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he shouldn't have had a real reason to be on high alert with this guy, I don't think. But he was, from what I was reading, was African American, the perpetrator. So I don't know.
Well, wouldn't you think that he might have ran his plates before he pulled him over? Because a lot of times cops will do that. You know, they'll see if he's got any warrants, you know, before he does pull him over, or you know, if there's any kind of issues with the guy, like if the car's stolen or whatever. At least that's what I thought cops did.
Well, you know, Mr. Mel Tripper, you're talking about running the plates and all that stuff. Like, the work car that I drive is an old junker, but it came from my mother-in-law, and it's in my wife's name. So that's the one I got pulled over with my firearm in. It doesn't register to me. There's a female's name on it,
Right.
and there's a bearded guy that's showing you a permit that he has a gun, and you know that cop is on alert. And well, heck, you know, if you are a law enforcement officer, yeah, they have to be on alert. You know, a couple local cops are buddies of mine. I understand what they go through, but some of them are on just, I don't know, a power trip or.
Yeah. Some cops.
Yeah.
I can understand going to a car like I was in. Here's a 15-year-old car that a grandma should drive and has a woman's name associated to it, and then a man hands you a gun permit and a driver's license, and it does not match the car. But, you know, fortunately, you know, I was polite, he was polite. You know, here's my stuff, here's yours. We're fine, but heck, you know, if you were in that man's job, that might be scary. You know,
it would depend a ton on like the kind of crime and demographics of the area that you're living in. I mean, I've lived in areas where not having your driver's license could be a concern. I mean, whether you're a citizen or not, and cops would react to that totally differently than where I am here. And I mean, similarly here, I mean, the county that I'm in is actually pretty libertarian, and the idea of concealed carrying and having a firearm in your car is super normal. So, like, um, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I like small town living is because, you know, it's easier to live in a culture of trust and understanding that people are trustworthy. And I think a police officer would respond to his community in a different way if he felt like he knows these people. There's reason to expect that crime isn't going to be here, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, talk about your demographic and where you live and the people. What's hilarious is before my mom retired from work, you know what her regular work car was? It was a 1964 Chevrolet Impala Super Sport.
Nice. That's cool.
With a big block, with Flowmaster mufflers, single stage, loud as hell.
That's awesome.
She got pulled over weekly. Now, she's got a lead foot, but she wouldn't speed, but she would go from 0 to 35 as fast as it would get there. And she got pulled over weekly. And the police officer was thinking they're going to pick up a middle-aged guy, well, a guy going through a middle-age crisis, or a young kid. And here's my mom going to work for Red Lobster. And they would just walk up to the car and be like, hi, ma'am. Because she wasn't speeding. It wasn't, what do you call it, reckless driving. It was just a car. They were thinking that they were going to pick up a middle-aged guy or a teenager. And here's this 50-something-year-old woman driving a hot rod.
So, that's funny, dude. I wish I had a 64 Impala with Super Sport. That'd be sick. And that's part of it. But I guess I was reading a little further that the trooper was under fire in the line of duty recently. So he may have been, and I think Mel Trooper, you were telling me he was suspended, or maybe he was on leave or something because of that, and maybe he got back too soon. You know, he was not mentally ready to return to the line of duty, and that's what caused him to kind of flip. You know, like he had just
he still had PTSD or whatever.
Yeah. So that could be on the police department for putting him out there too soon. But Paper Tiger was saying that he's charged with assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature, a felony that carries up to 20 years.
The cop got charged with that?
That's what he said. I didn't read that anywhere, but I don't know where he's getting that information, but that's what he said in the comments.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Wow.
Yeah.
Because he pulled out his driver's license?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of bad situation that could have been so different. That guy's lucky he didn't lose his life.
Yeah.
That got shot, and the cop's lucky that he didn't kill someone, but he may end up going to jail anyway. I mean, can you imagine putting a cop in prison? Ugh.
They don't last. Yeah,
I hope that. I hope that.
I've been on both sides of the law. In my younger days, I wasn't always lawful, but and I've got friends that that been in and out of prison before, and yeah, they find out when cops get put in jail. They're definitely targets.
Yeah, that's sad. I hope that I honestly hope for the cop's sake he doesn't have to go to prison. But at the same time, he definitely overreacted and shot an innocent person. So, I don't know. I don't know.
Like you said, if he, was in a situation before that, he's, naturally going to be on, high alert just because of that reason. So he probably he probably shouldn't have been back, at least on patrol. They could have brought him back and just let him, do desk work, paperwork or something until, he was okay to come back.
Yeah, that's definitely hard.
I mean, it's hard to say because, you don't really know the scenario. You're just seeing what's been recorded and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough to say. So it's just an unfortunate situation. But one thing that we can do as drivers and citizens is not make sudden, like I said, not make sudden movements with the cop. And there was a shooting not too long ago here locally. A couple of highway patrolmen were shot and they were doing routine pullover or beating. And these psychos shot and killed one of them, and then they took off, and there's some high-speed chase all the way down I-15. I mean, it went on for a couple of hours, and this cop lost his life on a routine traffic stop. So you see that on the news, and so do these cops. That's why they're so cautious. So
that happens a lot too.
Yeah, you don't blame them for being cautious, but at the same time, it doesn't give you the right to shoot somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a fine line, and I respect Leo's. I respect what they do, and I do think sometimes, like Hancock said, they can be on power trips and stuff, but that's a tough job. They're not paid nearly enough money for what they do, and I'm not sure. I certainly wouldn't choose that as a profession. Putting my life on the line and always being under scrutiny for what, 40? I don't even know what they make, $40,000 a year. I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it's under 30, or I mean under 40.
Yeah, I mean that's not that much money, especially in today's world.
Right.
In all honesty, most police officers in my state make less than first-year teachers.
Yeah.
And that's like $35,000 a year.
They do get benefits. I'm not sure. I know. I guess it depends on each different precinct or whatever. But some of them do get pretty good benefits in that. But I mean, it just really depends. I mean, I'm sure the small town police officers don't get as good as as these larger city police officers do. So.
All right, guys. Well, we've gone over 2 hours, which is not like us to do that, and that's fine. I've been enjoying the conversation. So,
yeah.
But I do feel like it's about time to wrap it up. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's getting kind of late. I know where Hancock is. It's got to be. Are you on Eastern time, bud?
It's 11:13.
Oh, you're on Central then. Okay. And you're on Central too, aren't you, Metal Trooper?
Yeah.
And you're on Central too then, right? And you're in Iowa?
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only 10:15 here, but I know it's late for a lot of the viewers too. So.
Well, before you shut her down, let's have a nice wrap up of all the people in the comments and give them high fives and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So we got Hawaii Volcano Squad. Kelly Parks just joined, so sorry to be shutting it down. Paper Tiger, Susan Rogers from Urban to Country Homestead, Mike DeLucia came in recently. Method 88's been here a while. A lot of these guys have been in the comments for quite a long time, which is cool to have them hang out that long. The Sick Man 99, Stump Greenwood, South Carolina. That happened in your home state there, buddy. Hawaii Volcano, I think I already mentioned his name. Just seeing if I missed anyone. I think that's it. So a lot of these guys have been in the comments the whole chat, which is really cool. They stuck along that long. So we appreciate you guys watching. We'll be here next week, same time, same channel, and we'll have some more good stuff to talk about. So thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep, y'all have a good one. And appreciate each and every one of you.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, guys, hang around for a sec. We're going to go off air.